Next on Gettysburg Insider.
Places for the top of the show, please.
It's showtime at Gettysburg Community Theater.
We have anywhere from 10 to 15 productions a year, a total of 70 performances a year.
Katrina Fickus is backstage to see what it's all about. And Project Hope is in our volunteer spotlight.
There's plenty of individuals in our community that probably don't realize they have the skill to mentor, but they do.
Kathy Leap sits down with animal photographer Maureen Figuera.
Hello, lights, my friend.
And there's a new gin in town. We have a sneak peek of Dixon Distillery.
It feels right. It's the exact kind of space you'd want to walk into to have a social atmosphere. And then all the equipment just fits in the space quite nicely, like it was meant to be here.
And Katrina's back in her cocktail corner with summer sangria recipes.
Tonight on Gettysburg Insider.
But first, a word about the supporters of Gettysburg Insider. Gettysburg Day Spa, a full-service salon and spa. The Spirit Box, holistic parties, handcrafted jewelry and furniture. Raise the vibration. The Raphael Inn, a bed and breakfast in the heart of Gettysburg. Island Fusion, available for your next party, steel drums, and so much more.
The ever-evolving Gettysburg craft food, beer, and wine scene will soon have a new addition.
We're going to make a little bit of everything. To get started, we're going to make clear spirits. We're going to focus on a clear rum, gin. We will bring in a vodka as well at some point. And then once we are able to have aged spirits available, we'll have aged spirits available. We'll have an aged rum. We'll have different types of whiskeys and play around with a little bit of everything.
Yanni Baracus and his father George are getting ready to open Dixon Distillery. They are focusing on spirits made almost entirely with locally sourced ingredients.
All of our raw grains are coming within 5 to 10 miles, some of which we grow ourselves. Our malted grains are coming from a small operation called Double Eagle Malt just outside of Philadelphia. The only product we import is molasses to make our rum.
The distillers themselves farm 47 acres in Gettysburg National Military Park. You can't get more local than that. They grow grains, including rye, on parcels that are leased from the National Park Service. They say they are honored to have such a unique opportunity.
Why here? You just saw the property and fell in love with it? It was just what you needed?
Made the decision to be in Gettysburg well before we ever found this location. I'm not a big city guy, I wanted a small town. But Adams County has such an abundance of agriculture, which is my raw material that I need. So it allows me to stay local and establish that sense of community, and all my raw materials are here.
The property, built in 1912, needed a complete renovation. It once housed the Gettysburg Furniture Company, which at its peak in the 1930s employed over 350 people. The building was empty for about 30 years.
This property specifically, when we were looking, we found this, and just the amount of character that's in this building is impossible to find in any new construction.
Yeah, it really does have a lot of character. We're looking forward to our next tour.
Absolutely. It has everything we need. It has space. It has old brick. It has old big rough cut beams. It feels right. It's the exact kind of space you'd want to walk into to have a social atmosphere.
The bathroom doors were handmade by Yanni. The bar is made with copper and recycled wood. A local craftsman is making these incredible bar stools.
All of this has happened through just a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. A lot of time and effort has gone into rehabbing this space and making it what it is today. It was in pretty rough shape when we got in here.
Oh, you've got a passion, and it shows. It really does.
Thank you.
The Distillery dog, Mash, will be on hand to greet patrons and make them feel welcome.
We'll offer guided tours for sale that will include sampling, but there will be a physical barrier, which will be glass, between the front of the house and the back of the house, between our restaurant retail area and our actual manufacturing floor.
To encourage the patrons to engage with each other, the bar area will not have television or Wi-Fi.
We're trying to foster an environment where people will socialize and talk to one another. We want our customers to be our own entertainment. Things we're doing to promote that include our small plates, which are a very social, shareable dish, which encourage more interaction.
In addition to upscale small plates, signature drinks will be on the menu. Plus, you'll be able to buy bottles of handcrafted spirits so you can take a little bit of Adams County home with you.
The experience for people that come here, I want it to be social. I want to establish a strong sense of community. We're making such a large effort to get all of our raw materials locally. We're being neighborly, and I want people to feel that when they come in, and I want them to feel comfortable to interact with one another and just tell stories.
Project Hope is a mentoring program in Adams County that matches adults with youth ages 13 to 20. The youth have had involvement with the child welfare or juvenile justice systems, or they are at risk of becoming involved.
The youth are just like any other youth that are out there in their age range. They're just looking for someone who cares and who's willing to listen and give them some guidance and to be there for them, like a big sister or a big brother.
I think a mentor can have an enormous impact on an individual that just doesn't have direction. If that mentor gives them a sense of they have support, encouragement, and just leading them in the right direction. And if that mentor is able to build the trust with that individual they're mentoring, it can have a huge impact and success for that person's life.
Project Hope asks for a 1-year commitment, spending time with your youth for about 1 hour each week. As a mentor, you can provide a source of stability, and you can instill confidence in the mentee, helping he or she make better decisions and better life choices.
The progress that a lot of the mentees have made socially and with their education and continuing on with their education and becoming interested in different career paths that they wouldn't have chosen prior to meeting their mentors.
No special skills are needed to be a mentor. Being a good listener is enough.
There's plenty of individuals in our community that probably don't realize they have the skill to mentor, but they do. And I would encourage our retired population, our professionals, to consider this as an opportunity to help their community.
For more information about becoming a mentor with Project Hope, visit adamscounty.us. Search keywords Project Hope.
The worst that's ever happened, probably, I dropped my camera off the top of the tiger cage one day. That was probably the worst. I was in tears before it hit the ground.
And next, the adventures of animal photographer Maureen Ferguera. Stay tuned.
We're taking Gettysburg Insider's resident dog, Roscoe, to have his portrait taken. Maureen Figuera is the owner of Mo's Photos. Her studio is in Hanover, Pennsylvania.
Do you want to have your picture taken? Huh?
One of Mo's specialties is pet portraits. Sounds like a fun job, but it's not quite as easy as you would think.
I'm a big fan of your work, especially because of your clientele. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Primarily, I photograph animals. My first love is photographing the exotics, lions, tigers, monkeys, alligators. I do a lot of pets as well.
And what's so unusual about that is, I mean, they don't just come to your studio. You
No.
have to go to them.
Yes, that's
So
all
tell us
location.
what that's been like.
It can be pointless because they're not in the mood, or it can be, oh my God, this is amazing. They want to play, they want to talk, they want to act like themselves. And that's the key to me, is when they act like themselves. Patience, timing, knowing who they are. That's what I hope to capture, is who they are, not just what they look like.
As soon as I change to my small lens, they go as far as they can, and I need my big lens. It's like they know.
Mo is a self-trained photographer. She documents the residents of the East Coast Exotic Animal Rescue in Fairfield, Pennsylvania.
Do you get a little bit of background on the animals before you do a shoot with them?
I actually have worked with these particular guys for several years before I started photographing them seriously.
And tell us a little bit about that, the work that you're doing there.
Animal care, feeding, cleaning, lots and lots of cleaning.
And this is volunteer work,
Volunteer work, yep, it's all volunteer. I took some photos initially to show my kids, yeah, I do work with tigers and lions and monkeys. And it became the first calendar that I did for them. And we're now doing, I think it's the 7th or 8th calendar I'm working on right now.
Mo donates tons of her time, and by producing calendars and auctioning off her work, she has raised thousands of dollars for the rescue.
Why I do what I do? Their story really needs to be told. There's a lot of captive exotic animals that people aren't aware of. They thought they were going to be good pets, or they were lab animals. They're done with them now. Very few places that are set up or able to care for them. And yet most people are unaware that it's really a huge problem. There's more tigers in captivity than there are in the wild.
That's awful.
It is. It's a sad thing. And without places like East Coast Exotic Animal Rescue to care for these animals, what happens when you can't keep them anymore?
And although Mo has worked with some of these animals for many years, they aren't domesticated pets, and she doesn't let her guard down.
Have you ever gotten yourself into a position where you think, I'm in danger right now, trying to get this shoot, and then how do you get out of that?
It's a good question. I try to think of that beforehand. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure the animal's not at risk, and of course I'm not at risk. Right up there is my equipment's not at risk. I work from outside the cage. I'll stick my lens through the chain link and through 4x4. It's kind of funny because I'll take off running when they come at me, even though the cage is between us, but through the lens there isn't one. So when they come, you go.
Mo says she's a lucky lady to be able to combine her two passions, animals and photography, and she loves sharing the animal stories.
So that's part of what inspired you to get
Yep.
started with your photography and keep
Yep.
going with
To
it?
try and capture who they are, why they're here, so that
And let people know that they are here.
let people know that they are here, exactly.
Coming up next on Gettysburg Insider, we will be learning about everything going on here at the Gettysburg Community Theater.
Plus, sangria recipes in Katrina's Cocktail Corner.
It's a performance night at the Gettysburg Community Theater, a special youth production of The King and I. All of the roles are filled by kids in 8th grade or younger.
Very good. All right, so props are checked and set.
Many hours of work go into every production here. Volunteers build the sets and the costumes. They run the audio and light boards. They are hairstylists. They make popcorn and get the programs ready.
Thank you.
The actors usher the audience to their seats. After weeks of rehearsal, it's showtime.
Swastika. Here in Siam, that is how we say hello.
This is one of about 15 productions done each year with more than 70 live performances. Chad Allen Carr is the founding artistic and executive director of the theater. He's been in musical theater since he was a child and says it's always been his dream to have his own theater.
We started originally, we opened in 2009 as a children's theater only. But we quickly, within the first 2 years, realized that there was a market for community theater of all ages and all abilities. We have productions and classes year-round for children, teens, adults. We have a senior citizen theater program where everyone in the cast is ages 55 plus. And we also have our Penguin Project Special Needs Theater program.
Today we are here for the rehearsal of the Penguin Project, which involves students from 10 different school districts. The Penguin Project pairs up artists with special needs with their peer mentors. They produce a show together side by side. This year's show is Suzical Jr.
Places, go! All the things you can make. What you think?
The Penguin Project was started in Illinois and is now a national program. Chad is proud to have started the first Penguin Project here in Pennsylvania.
Take extra care with the song at home.
The penguins in the Penguin Project are special needs children. They may not be able to fly, but their spirits soar through the love of theater arts.
We definitely witnessed that here today.
Yeah, they're pretty fantastic.
And Wickershams, can we always have you together? I see you've lost a Wickersham. There they go. Let's stay together.
The kids in all of the shows here gain poise, self-confidence, and they learn about working together as a team. As the executive director of a nonprofit theater, Chad must wear many hats.
So I'm the marketing director, I'm the development director, I'm the executive director, I'm the artistic director. I am the producer, and so I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world, but I certainly couldn't do it without all my volunteers helping me.
Live theater is expensive to produce as royalties are paid to the original writers and composers.
One show would cost on royalties anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500. That's before we've built one costume, before we've sold one ticket. That's just a royalty to have the legal rights to perform that published work. So having our own rehearsal space, our own performance space here in downtown Gettysburg is wonderful. We are a tenant. We do pay rent and utilities, so we've got that overhead on top of royalties for 10 productions a year. In our lounge, we have our Star Wall of Fame for some of our sponsors. There's lots of room for more.
The Adams County community is very supportive of the arts, but there is always a need for donors. Chad says the theater has gained regional and national recognition for its programs, and he loves it most when a production inspires the audience.
We have audience members that will come up to me after saying, I just thought I was going to see a children's, some like kids play. This was incredible. That's what I love, is whenever we do a production and we exceed their expectations.
Getting to know all about you.
Coming up next on Gettysburg Insider, we're back in the cocktail corner, stirring up some delicious sangrias. Be sure to tune in. Hello and welcome back to Katrina's Cocktail Corner. For today's segment, we will be making 3 different flavored sangrias. The 3 drinks I will be making for you today: a peach sangria, a pina colada sangria, and a strawberry lemonade sangria. I think you will find that they are all very easy to make and very refreshing. The first drink that I'm going to make today is the pina colada sangria. We are going to make it in a pitcher, that way we can refrigerate it and it'll be good to go tomorrow. Our first ingredient is a whole can of crushed pineapple, including the juice. Now we are going to add a whole bottle of Moscato. The last thing that we're going to add is a cup of coconut rum. Give it a good stir to get all the ingredients mixed up. Now you're going to want to put this in the refrigerator overnight, if not at least for a couple hours, so it's nice and chilled. So now that our pitcher has been chilling for a few hours, we're going to pour it over some ice, add a garnish, pina colada sangria. The next drink I'm going to make for you today is strawberry lemonade sangria. Our first and main ingredient is pink Moscato. We are going to fill our already garnished glass about halfway. Now we are going to add 1.5 ounces of our strawberry vodka. And we're going to top all that off with some lemonade. A little stir. Strawberry lemonade sangria. The last drink I will be making today is a peach sangria. We already garnished our glass with frozen peaches. So now we're going to add in the white zin. We're going to pour it about 2/3 of the way full. Now we're going to add a shot of peach brandy. We're going to top that off with some Sprite. Stir it up just a little. There you have the peach sangria.
So thank you for joining us for another episode of Gettysburg Insider. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Katrina, these are amazing.
Oh, thank
very
you, Kathy.
refreshing.
We're glad that you guys could join us for another cocktail corner. Keep following us because you never know where we're going to end up next. Cheers.
True.
Cheers.
I'm stuck in traffic about 5:45. Keep thinking there's something better than this. Because overheat would need something to drink. I closed my eyes and I began to think. Traffic ain't moving, I'm so hot I'm dying. I reach into the cooler, grab a drink with a lime. Add it to the taco, add it to the chip. Add it to the cola, add it to the beer. Add it to the rum, one shot at a time. Add the lime and you'll feel fine. I'm going to the store, gonna buy some lime. Says no tomorrow, gonna have a good time. Put on some butter, cause I'm feeling fine. You bring the blender and I'll do limes. Add it to the taco, add it to the chip.